Hi lovely ones, I'm so sorry it's been a while since I've spoken to you through this little screen here. Hopefully you can forgive me because I've got big exciting news. If you haven't heard already, I am opening a studio and I can't wait to welcome you all. But there's been lots of behind the scenes juggling and lots of to and froing, which is why I've not had time to really focus on you. But here I am beginning to make up for it. Thank you so much for making the switch to the paper video. That's, I think, going to be super helpful for all of us in the long run. And I will be keeping these going even though I'm getting bricks and mortar place. So don't worry, you won't be losing this just because that's happening. So anyway, thank you for joining me. Let's start sitting. So just finding a comfortable seat on your mat to begin with. If you need bolsters, cushions, whatever, go for it. And as you are ready, shut down your eyes and really come into the space. Taking some good time to begin with to really check in. How is the body feeling? What does it feel like when you're in contact with the ground? And does it feel like your spine is neatly stacked? Or are you aware of any asymmetries in how you're holding yourself? And is there a way to just get a little bit more upright? Finding a little bit more uplift around the shoulders, the neck, the head. While at the same time feeling steady and anchored where the body touches down. And how does it feel like to come into stillness today? Is it feeling like, a relief to be still and to focus? Or is it not? Sometimes it can suddenly feel quite stressful to just have to be here and do nothing. So whatever emotions are bubbling up for you, just holding those as part of your experience, as part of your practice. And bringing yourself back to the body. And back to the breath. Noticing any further uplift of the front of the chest, the shoulder blades as you breathe in, and any releasing, de-stressing, settling as you breathe out. We'll emerge from this stillness quite gently, quite slowly. So bring your hands together at heart center to begin with. Dropping your chin slightly. And as your eyes open, just bring your hands into focus and then the rest of your space. Just letting the sight, the vision kind of hit your eyes rather than needing to focus on things around you. And then we'll release. Let's have a nice warm up of the upper body. So dropping the chin to the chest. On an inhale, we'll then curl to look up over one shoulder. Exhale, back down through center and inhale, up the other side. So exhaling down, inhaling up. And just one more each side. Finishing in the centre. Noticing any qualities of ease around your neck and your shoulders, or any stiffness, any clunkiness, anything that feels stuck. We'll take the head over to one side. So trying to keep the shoulders still stacked over the hips. Sometimes we kind of let the whole body go over. We're going to try not to do that at this stage. So just taking the head over. And if you feel like you haven't quite got the angle right, we can just move the chin a little bit. Sometimes moving the chin back can access a whole load of tightness that needs stretching out. See what works for you. And then if you feel like there's room to explore this a bit further, we might take the hand onto the opposite shoulder. And again, if there's room to explore more, we might extend the arm out. The angle again is slightly kind of dependent on where you're tight, what feels good for you. Behind can be good, higher or lower can be good. And then another way to explore this is to bend the wrist back so the fingertips kind of go up towards the ceiling, and that can access a whole load of stuff going on around the upper body. As always, I forgot to say at the beginning, everything is optional. If something is not quite right for you, don't feel like you have to do it. We'll have a couple more breaths on this side. And then gradually, slowly releasing. And it's always a good time to check in with both halves of the body, what feels different on the side that we've worked. If you wanted to refresh your seat, you could switch the cross of your legs or change the way you're sitting before we do the other side. That would be absolutely fine. And we'll take the head over. So finding the angle first. We'll come into it just as slowly. Once you've found where the tightness is for you, you can decide whether you want to. Try the hand on the shoulder. Keep an eye again about whether the shoulders are stacked over the hips. You might want to extend the arm. Oh, that's really tight. I need this today. And you might want to pull the hand back. And then gently releasing. Seeing if everything feels a little more symmetrical now. From here we're going to take the arms out to the side. So sometimes when we do this, we want to really open the front of the body and the ribs end up kind of pinging forward. So draw the lower ribs in, keeping that length through the whole of the spine, not squishing the lower back or the neck. Reaching the hands out, stretch into the fingertips. Roll the shoulder blades down. And then we'll just turn the head one way, see if you can get it so you feel like your nose is kind of going down the midline of your arm down towards your thumb. And then we'll come back through centre and to the other side. And we'll go back through centre again. Just get a real sense of, again, what's going on through your torso. So sit points both equally balanced, lower back feeling long and spacious, lower ribs drawn in, shoulder blades rolling down. Turning again to the first side. Back through centre. And on an exhale, second side. Through centre. Your arms beginning to ache a little bit maybe now. Let's just have one more go at that, keeping a real awareness, a real strength through the torso, keeping everything engaged, looking over the first side. Back through centre and looking over the second side. And release and shake out. Do what you need to do. Great. We're we're going to come forwards to hands and knees and take some cat-cow, so bear with while I just take the layers off. So if you're off and running with your cat-cow, that's great. If you're just going at my sort of speed, let's just check the fingers are spread, hands are under shoulders, and the inner edge of the hand is pressing down. Knees are under hips, and heels not dropping in or out, so heels also in good alignment. And obviously inhale, open the front of the body, exhale, open the back of the body. Every inhale, rib cage comes forward without compromising the back of the neck, and every exhale, belly muscles draw in, tailbone and chin tuck under. We'll have one more inhale, so wherever you are in your cycle, have one more inhale, and then tucking the toes, lifting the hips, pressing the heart space back. We'll find downward facing dog. Just wiggle me forwards a bit, there we go. And by all means, pedal out the legs, if that feels good for you. And then coming to stillness, finding this down dog shape today. Again, spreading the fingers, pressing the inner edge of the hand down. Think again about the whole of the torso, much like we did when we were just sitting. Where is there strength? Where feels like it's being used? Which parts of the body feel lengthened? Where is there space? Does everything feel symmetrical and kind of stacked where it should be in this alignment? And then looking to the front of the mat, we can jump or step into halfway lift at the front of the mat. Exhale, fold, and inhale, reaching for the ceiling. Exhale, hands down. So finding Samasthiti, big toes together, heels can be together or slightly apart, and just seeing how does it feel to be upright now? What information are you getting? What feedback are you getting from the legs, from the feet, from the hips? How does the upper body feel, given that we've already kind of worked it, stretched it out a little bit? And then we'll exhale, blink open the eyes if you shut them. Great, so we're going to take some sun salutations. I've set myself up way too close to the wall, so I might do some funky arm versions, but I am sure that you're all very familiar with where your arms go in sun salutations. Don't mind me over here. So, finding the front of the mat. On an inhale, we'll float the hands up. Exhale, folding down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, jump or step back to plank. Let's just pause in plank this first time. Spread the hands, inner edge touches down, get the legs working. Great, and then on an exhale, we'll lower down. And inhale into upward facing dog or cobra if that's better for you today. And exhale, back to downward facing dog. Steady your breath. Let your head go really heavy. And have a slow turn of the head. So just turn to look under one armpit. Then back through centre. Then under the other armpit. Back through centre. We'll go again on the first side. You can have a little wiggle, a little wiggle, a little kind of easing out of any tension. Back through centre, and to the second side, and again a little shake is totally fine. And back to centre. And see if you can curl the chin up towards the chest. And then bring the head to neutral, pull the shoulder blades down towards the waistline, keep the back of the neck long. But what happens if we start to take the head forward slightly? Bring the heart space forward slightly, so try not to crease up the back of the neck, but just look forward slightly. Great. back to down dog. And then looking to the front of the mat on an inhale, let's come forwards, halfway lift. Exhale to fold, and inhale, up to standing. Exhale, release the hands. We're going to go straight into another one. So next inhale, floating up. Exhaling to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, jump or step back. Lower down. Inhale, take your choice of back bends. Exhale, downward facing dog. Check again that the first finger, the index finger, and the base of the index finger and the thumb are in good contact with the mat. Next inhale, come forwards, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale, reach. Exhale, release. And again. This time we're going to pause as we take the hands up, pull the shoulder blades down, and again find some space and ease through the upper shoulders, the upper back, the neck. Maybe look to the thumbs without squishing the neck. Have one more breath in here. Then as we breathe out, we'll fold. Inhale. Again, open up around the neck and the shoulders. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, up facing. Exhale, downward facing. Next inhale, let's come forwards, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, and inhale, back up to Samastiti, and release. Okay, just pause there for a moment. We're going to take the feet out, just wider than hip distance. Soft knees to transition hands to hips. Inhale, lift the heart space. Exhale, fold all the way down. We're going to grab the opposite elbows and dangle. And once you're down, you can straighten the legs, lift the hips. So keeping the feet out, just wider than hips. But check the inner edge of the foot, so the arch is lifting, but the ball of the foot is pressing down strongly. Feel like you can hug all of the leg muscles into the bone. And soften the knees slightly from here. We're going to keep the arms by the ears and come into like a halfway lift sort of shape. So the elbows are kind of pulling you forwards towards the front of the mat. The sit points are kind of pulling you back towards the back of the mat. One more breath. And then release back down. We're going to change the cross of the forearms. So just a reminder, whichever way they're crossed at the moment, we're going to cross them the other way. So still holding. Then come back down into our fold. And once you're down, you can straighten the legs, lift the hips, and encourage the ribs down to the thighs. Spread the toes, lift the kneecaps. And then once again, softening the knees slightly. Come into your halfway lift sort of shape. Elbows pulling you forward, sit points pulling you back. Great, one more breath. Lovely. And then we'll release the hands back to the fold, wiggle the feet into the regular distance, step back to plank, lower down, forwards into upward facing, back into downward facing, and then drop the knees. Hips to heels, find child's pose, or if you feel like you'd like to be upright, we've just spent quite a long time with our head down. If you feel it's more appropriate for you, just come to sitting or kneeling. Let everything normalise. I forgot to put my watch on again. Okay, good. So just easing everything out, letting it settle, whichever position you're in. Lovely. From here we're going to come back to downward facing dog. So both arms working strongly. On an inhale, lift the right leg into three-legged dog, and on an exhale, step it forwards, drop the knee, come down to low lunge. I'm going to see if I can mirror you. Not very good at mirroring, but I'm going to see if I can do it anyway. Great. So come on up, hands to hips, and just think for a moment about drawing the lower ribs in, dropping the tailbone. So if you tend to be quite arched in this position, think about doing this with your hips to get a better stretch down the front of the left psoas. Great. So press the front foot down, spread the toes. From here on an inhale, we're going to take the arms up and again grab hold of the opposite elbows. So keep descending the tailbone, drawing the lower ribs in, but see if you can work the arms back for a really nice shoulder stretch. See where the resistance is in the body, whether your breath is still full of ease. Great. And then we're going to take a side stretch. So you've got your right foot forward, so we're going to go over to the right, stretching out the left side of the body. Find the angle of the shoulder that feels like it needs a stretch. And then just breathe into it in a way that feels appropriate for you. Right. Come back to neutral. We're going to release the arms, take them out to the side. Draw the shoulders back and down, and we've still got that sense of lengthening the tailbone, drawing the lower ribs in. We're going to turn our head to look over one shoulder. Notice if this sort of thing happens, it's a bit of an exaggeration just so you can see what I mean. Draw the shoulders down, look one side, back through centre, and the second side. And just notice anything that you're experiencing in the body, any feelings that are happening for you in the body. And then on an inhale, we'll bring the hands up, heel toe the foot out a little bit so you've got a bit more space, and then bring the hands down inside the foot. Right, I'm just going to have to go back a little bit so I can show you what I mean for this next one. Okay. So we're going to keep the hands here, so even if you know you can come down to your forearms to your elbows, let's keep the hands. We're going to pull the right toes up towards the knee and then allow the whole leg to come out from the hip. So keeping this skin on the inside of the ankle nice and smooth, because if it's all creased up, you've probably put a lot of pressure on your ankle without getting the hip opening. That's partly why pulling the toes up helps to keep everything active. You can come forwards or you can wiggle the back knee back, just finding a useful stretch through the hip. Sometimes you can put a little bit of movement in, whether it's forward and back or side to side. If you're feeling the need to move into this, then great, do it. It's your practice. I can't see you anyway. So do what you need here. Just watch the back knee, watch the breath. It's feeling like this is good for you. And if you are moving, gently come into stillness. Bringing that knee back into the midline, and we'll step back to downward facing dog. A moment's pause in this upside down position. What's the body telling you now? Again, noticing what we've done on one side, how you're experiencing that. And then from here, we'll inhale, lift the left leg. Exhale, step it forward between the hands, drop the right knee, and again, let me see if I can work out my opposites. Great. Coming up, hands to hips in our low lunge, dropping the tailbone, drawing the lower ribs in. So keep the front foot active, press the ball of the foot down. We'll reach the hands up. See if you can cross the forearms the other way once again, and keep descending the tailbone, drawing the lower ribs in. Find the stretch that works for your shoulders today. And breathe and smile. We're going to take a side stretch over to the left hand side. Get me? Or whichever side you didn't go before. So you might feel that all the way down into the psoas, you might feel it in the shoulders. It doesn't, there's no right or wrong, so long as it feels like a nice opening for your body, that's great. Breath or two more here. And coming back to the center, keeping energy in the arms, we'll stretch up, we'll stretch out. Again, just check, tailbone descending, lower ribs drawing in, roll the shoulder blades back and down. Turn the gaze, nose to thumb, back through center, and a second side. Back to center, one more each side. So keeping energy in the arms, stretching to the fingertips, nose towards your thumb, back to center, and the second side, and back to center. Inhale, reach the hands up, wiggle the foot out towards the side, and bring the hands down. So finding a little short lunge here. Again, let me see if I can get myself where I need to be. Pull the toes up towards the knee, drop the whole leg out. So not squishing the ankle, keeping the foot working and keeping this inside of the ankle nice and smooth. So if you notice it's all creased up, just check your ankle is happy. Again, you can put a little bit of movement in if that works for you, side to side, forwards and back. Keep it small, so not massive great swings of the hips. Little movements can be a lot more effective and just kind of easing out knots and niggles, I think. And breathe. And then gently coming to stillness, and we'll step around to downward facing dog once again. So just bring yourself to down dog. Just need to check the time. Okay. So bring yourself to down dog. A few moments to be still, and then from here, dropping the knees, finding child's pose, or again, if you feel like you just need to be upright, then just do that. But a few moments to just still everything. Let everything kind of normalise, really tune in to what sensations you are experiencing in the body. And releasing. Great. So back to downward facing dog, planting the hands. And from here, we're not going to do three-legged dog, but we are going to step the right foot forward to the front of the mat, wiggle everything around so that we're facing the long edge of the mat, feet parallel. And then we're going to have a bit of movement into the hips once again, if that feels good for you. A little bit of a walk of the hands, maybe side to side. So I'm just kind of bending one leg and then the other. Gently coming to stillness in the centre. We'll take hands to hips, soften the knees a little and come all the way up to standing. Lovely. Stretch out the arms, so much like we've done a few times already. And again, think about lengthening the tailbone, drawing the lower ribs in, pulling the shoulder blades down. So I'm just going to show you from the side in case that's not really making loads of sense. Lengthen the tailbone, drop it down, and the lower ribs come in. We can end up quite arched. I can anyway. It's common, lots of us do. Drop the tailbone, draw the lower ribs in, and then the arms come out. And then from here again, turn your head over one side to look at the thumb. Back through centre, and the other side. Back to centre. Great. Take the hands down behind, interlace the fingers. See if you can keep A little bit of softness in the elbow, so just a little bit of a bend of the elbow. So ideally not super locked out through this part of the body, a little bit of softness. And I always find that it helps get a bit more of a shoulder stretch in this next stage. Bend your knees slightly, press the balls of the feet down. And then on an inhale, lift the heart space, keeping a little bit of softness in the elbow. Exhale, fold down, bring the arms over. Again, slightly soft elbow. Once you're down, you can straighten the legs, but see if you can keep the elbows not locked out. Opening through the heart space. And again, checking for those qualities of ease and space around the neck and the shoulders. You might want to have a little shake of the head. You might not. Then soften the knees slightly, so a little bit of a bend in the knees. Use the belly muscles. Use the weight of the hands to come all the way up and release. And maybe bring the feet in if that works for you. Have a bit of a reset for your body, whatever that looks like. Perhaps a moment of stillness, perhaps a little wiggle out. Great. Take the feet wide once again. We're going to get the feet ready for Trikonasana, for triangle. So we're going to turn the right toes to the front of the mat, making sure the heels are in alignment, so the back foot's not back or forwards, it's directly on the same line. If you've got a mat with a line, that's helpful. Turn the back toes, the left toes in slightly, so if they're going out that way, bring them round a little. Legs working hard, so pressing the balls of the feet down, lifting the arches. Pull up this kneecap, this front kneecap, pull it up with the quads, so this leg is strong and protected. Hips facing the long side of the mat. Roll the shoulders, take hands to hips. And then we'll reach out with the right arm, much as we've done a few times already. And on an exhale, stretch, reaching into the right fingertips, bringing the right hand down. So we're going to keep the back hand, the left hand on the hip this time. We're going to do this pose a couple of times. Have a look. Is your head kind of over your thumb and over your foot as well? We sometimes come forwards in this position. So see if you can keep everything stacked over that midline of the mat. And having the hand on the hip allows that sense of rolling the shoulder back, keeping again space and ease through the neck. And again, if you want to kind of turn your head or anything that makes you feel like you can just create the space you need through that part of the body, go for it. Keep the front leg working. Keep smiling. And then we'll soften the knee. Come on up. Great, let's turn to the other side. Back toes point back. Right toes come around slightly. Heels still in a line. Drop the tailbone. Take the arms out. Right hand to hip. Just check. Nose pointing over towards the thumb. Stretch into the fingertips and then bring the hand down. Watch this top shoulder doesn't collapse this way or this way. So roll it back and down. Hand on hip is super useful. Have a look. Head still stacked over the midline of the arm, the midline of the foot. And again, if you feel like you just need to create a little bit of space anywhere in the neck, go for it. Openness through the collarbones. Soften the front knee, come all the way up. Great. Turn to face the first side again, so right toes to the front of the mat, left toes in slightly, legs working hard. So feeling super grounded, but in pressing down into the mat, we also can feel like we're drawing energy up. So draw the energy up. This time, we'll take the arms out, looking over both sides. Can we see down the middle of the arm? Reaching into the right fingertips, right hand comes down, left hand lifts this time. Notice if this top shoulder is curling, draw it back and down. You can of course go back to hand on hip if that was better for you, or if you feel like you're open enough through the shoulders, you can take the hand up, See if you can get the nose pointing to the thumb in what is probably quite a familiar way. And you might also turn your head down, see if your head is over your hand and your foot that side. And then soften the front knee. Come all the way up. Spin on the heels one more time. Drop the tailbone, press the feet down, pull the energy up, draw the lower ribs in. Arms out, roll the shoulders. Stretch into the left fingertips, reach, reach, reach. Hand comes down, right arm lifts, or again, hand to hip is great. There's no right or wrong here, whatever works. Look down, is your head over your arm and your leg? And then look up, is your head also down the midline of that arm? Adjust as needs be. And of course, if you've had enough of this pose, you can come out at any time. Breath or two more. And then soften the front knee. Come all the way up. Great. Wiggle the feet in. Big toes together. Lovely. Sit low, reach down. This time we're going to grab the opposite elbow, take the arms up just like before, and find a slightly different version of chair. You can take your eye line where it needs to be. Again, draw the lower ribs in, get the abs working. One more breath. And we're going to release the arms, cactus them out, and come all the way back up to standing and have a little shake out. I just need to check the time once more. Okay, good. Lovely. And then we're going to come down onto our backs. So come down any way that works. For you to lay on your back, we're going to do some bridge poses. If you feel like a supported version would be really nice for your body right now, have something handy, just press into the feet and settle. If you wanted to take a more active version, just check the feet are kind of like heel tickling distance, pressing the balls of the feet down, sliding the shoulder blades together, or just lift up into bridge and breathe. If you like the version with clasped hands, feel free. But even in this position, think about a quality of ease and space around your neck. So if you feel anything is squashed or your shoulder blades are coming up by your ears, then perhaps just lower out of the pose, reset and have another go. One more breath. And then gently release back down. Let's have a moment of stillness to see what's going on for you, what you might feel you need. You might take another bridge pose. You might still be in your supported version, in which case feel free to stay. You might want to take an Urdhva Dhanurasana, a wheel pose. So if that is in your practice, feel free. If you've never done it before, probably me speaking to you through a screen is not ideal. So if it's in your practice, we're going to reach up, pull the shoulder blades towards each other, bring the hands over and plant them. And again, thinking really about our foundations here. So we're going to keep the shoulders engaged, keep the balls of the feet down, press into your hands and your feet, and you can lift up into your Urdhva Dhanurasana if you're going to take it. You can take another bridge if you wanted to. I can't teach and do that pose, so I'm just going to talk to you instead. So if you're in your Urdhva Dhanurasana, keep the knees from splaying out, keep the balls of the feet pressing down. Breathe and maybe smile, and just check again that quality of space and ease around the neck. And whichever pose you are in, I'm going to give you space to explore for a few more breaths if you want to. If you're done, obviously just come on out. But on your next exhale, if you haven't already, just releasing down to the mat and let everything lengthen and settle and drop. Just before we finish our practice today, we're going to interlace the fingers and just slide the head onto the hands, so the back of the skull is resting in the hands And try and use your arm strength here rather than your neck strength. So let your head just go really heavy. See, if you can just lift the head, find a bit of length and space down the back of the body, and replace everything back down. And you can do that a couple of times if that's feeling good for you. Just finding a bit of, just length and ease through the back of the neck especially. And if the arms are doing the work, the head can just totally just feel like it's cradled and supported. So just one more maybe if that's working for you. And then release the head back down. And then with knees still bent, just lifting the tailbone just slightly off the mat, lengthening through the lower back and replacing. So much like we just did with the top of the spine, we're just going to do that with the bottom of the spine. So lifting the tailbone, lengthening through this whole lower back area, curling everything back down. And one more if this is feeling useful for you, just lifting it slightly, lengthening it and spreading the vertebrae as we come back down. And getting yourself set up for a very nice Shavasana. Whether you want to stay with legs bent or straighten them off, it's all good. It's fine what works for you today. So, in your relaxation, noticing we did quite a specific, kind of honing in on certain areas in our practice today, and you might notice sensations through the body off the back of that, or you might just have a lovely generalised relaxation now. So just anything that comes up, as always, just observe, bring your awareness back to the body, back to the breath if it wanders. Thank you so much for practicing. I've missed this feeling of connecting with you, but hopefully we can see each other fairly soon. Thank you so much. Namaste.